Yes. Okay.
Now we're good to go.
Now we're good to go. Now we're recording. Excellent.
A bit premature then.
So we're never premature.
No, always on time.
So welcome everybody. Those of you that are joining us live, and I know that there's people that watch this as a recording later, bit bedtime, sexy time in bed watching Dee and Phoebe.
No, just no. I'm not going
Don't go
to
there.
Next.
So I'm Phoebe from HR Dynamics.
Deanne.
And we've got Ali as well, who's joining us from
HR Dynamics.
Yes. So Ali has recently joined our team. We're super excited to have Ali on the team. Fun fact about Ali is that she loves spreadsheets. So we love Ali.
I love that Ellie loves spreadsheets.
Yeah, exactly. The more you love them, the less we have to love them.
Yeah.
So Ali is among her many jobs and contracts and rates and awards and things. She is also oversees all of our ongoing packages. She is, if you don't have her details on speed dial and her email address, get them there, because if there's anything you need, go to Ali and then she will either be able to help you or point you in the right direction.
Doctor. Triage.
Yes, triage, yeah.
What is your ailment?
Like
I will
that.
direct you to this person. Yes, good.
In many cases, you can probably solve the problems for them too. So excellent. So we're super excited to have Ali here. And thank you so much to all of our ongoing clients. We are continuing to grow. We're continuing to look at the service and what we are doing to provide value adds to people that are a part of this. One of those things has been the face-to-face training that we're doing in the Sunshine Coast, and up when we did one in Townsville.
Oh, that's the one that I'm doing.
And we've got one up here too. Oh, yes. Well, that's another one that you're doing. You're doing the sexy training, aren't you?
Yes, I'm doing the sexual harassment training, not the sexy training.
Yeah,
it's a different outfit. In November, yes, I'm doing that one.
And if you have got, even if you've rolled out your sexual harassment preventative plan, training, etc., you work with Ali and maybe Pete to get that in place. If you've got a new manager, supervisor, or yourself, and you're just like, is this really important or worthwhile, or I don't really understand it, you got to listen to Dee. So
that's a wrap and a half. Yay! Come listen to me for 3 hours. That'll be fun. It is.
It is 3 hours.
It says 9 to 12.
Don't sell that as the reason to go. I get rave comments about that training. People love it. So I do training and they go, yeah, your training was fine, but Dee's harassment training.
It's because I do war stories. People love war stories.
So it's very popular. So I recommend get in and see those sessions if you can. I think Christina's running them down on the Sunshine Coast. Is that right, Ali? Yeah. So she's got a few stories as well down there. So anyways, the couple of things that we are wanting to go through today. So to start, as always, we go through any legislation or cases that have kind of come to our attention that we think you should know about. And the one that stuck out to me was that Fair Work have just released that in the year 24-25, they have recovered $358 million of back pay of wages. That's $2 billion in 5 years' time. And the biggest fine, I think, and underpayment was to Sushi Bay, and they had to pay $15.3 million for deliberately underpaying 163 workers.
Is that 15.3 in fines or 15.3 including fines and back pay?
I think including fines and back pay.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of fines, but that sounds a bit more reasonable.
Yeah. Look, wage theft is a hot topic. You may talk.
Oh, thank you. I was doom scrolling the other day and through Facebook, and I follow the Fair Work Ombudsman on Facebook, as you do.
As you do, yeah.
People in HR, it's like, oh yeah, they've got
dogs, cats, Fair Work Ombudsman.
Yeah, those sorts of things, and alcohol and drink recipes. It seems to be the thing of the scroll. And I see that Facebook or Fair Work Ombudsman have just released their own timekeeping recording app. So this will allow employees to record their time, and the post is actually, record your own times, make sure you get it right. And of course, we only see people at their worst usually. So we tend to be a little bit negative and we go straight to the,
But this isn't for employers to do. This is an
No.
employee can just go in and say, I'm recording my time, submitting it through, and then Fair Work will tell you if you've been paid correctly.
Well, I don't know if it goes that far. It may just be the electronic record, but then I put my tinfoil hat on, and I go full conspiracy theory. What if it actually then just gets stored by Fair Work, and then, like, if they're going to go, well, maybe this is data that we can then go, well, we need to audit these premises, or I don't know. It's an app.
Look, I think AI is affecting all businesses in all ways, and Fair Work as well, and ATO, and using AI and algorithms and looking at turnover and wages and percentages and superannuation and operating, like they can put kind of all of those factors in place. And I think they will be making targeted audits based on that information. That's the word that I'm hearing, and maybe using information like these apps. I think that if you have got signed timesheets and the staff members signed it and you as an employer have signed it, and then they just suddenly declare they've had this app, it's going to be hard for them to use that on their own.
I think so.
But this whole, do I really have to have timesheets, particularly the salary staff?
Yeah, this is
full-time
where
staff.
I start to get the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, people
And
still
flat rates.
Yeah.
People who are working on flat rates. I'm trying to find the post, but obviously, there's
Taylor Swift.
There was a picture about Taylor Swift. They were posting about that.
Yeah.
I'd have to find it, but yeah, it's a publicly available tool that employees can use to record their times. So as I said, I start to get the heebie-jeebies with salaries, flat rates. I worked in an organisation once that did timesheets by exception. So it basically meant your timesheet was automatically filled in by default because they were your standard working hours.
I think I used to do that.
And you only filled in a timesheet if you worked outside those hours. I'd like to think I'm a bit more positive and see the benefit in humankind, but I don't most of the time. And I'd go, ooh.
The other thing is breaks.
Yeah.
That gets a lot of employers where they are giving a half an hour break after normally 5 hours, some would 6 hours.
Yep.
Goes into
and your
overtime
breaks if they're working overtime as well.
Yeah, what is it? 2 hours overtime, and then
generally,
generally
every award is different. Some are 2, some are 4.
Yeah, your award.
Know your award, absolutely.
That gets people, and what is really tricky for employers to navigate, and I get this, is that when the employee says, oh, but I'm happy to work through it, and I finish half an hour early.
That's well and good while the relationship's good, but as soon as the relationship turns pear-shaped or sour for whatever reason, however it's happened, all of those things are out the window, in my experience.
Or the other thing that we see happen is the employee takes a break driving from one job to another. And it's like, is that a break? A little bit of a nervous twitch there. Yeah. And then even if the employer's telling them that's to take their break, well, you just can't do that. They need to have an uninterrupted break. If they are, the employees say, oh, but I ate my sandwich on the way and I'm quite happy, I just want to get stuck into it again.
Sounds like my working day.
I would be clocking you out to your break. My 8th threshold.
I wish. I just got a pay rise. That's exciting. Yeah.
Look, if this is happening in your business and you're hell-bent on continuing it, just have a chat to us, like, mate, at least put an IFA in place or some written documentation or something really clearly communicating to staff that they are entitled to their break, they're expected to have their break, that it's important to have their break, something around that fatigue management side of things.
And I know it sounds
minimise the risk as much as you can.
I know it sounds overkill, but if you have an employee that verbally comes and asks you, oh, look, can dog Pete in, poor Pete out there. He came in and said, look, I've got my physio appointment this afternoon, gonna adjust my break a little bit earlier. Sure, no worries. Ideally, I would say, Pete, just pop that on an email for me. And then I would have that voluntary evidence that that's been initiated by the employee. I get it. How many emails do you have to have? How many file notes do you have to save, etc.?
It's never a problem until it's a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
So did he send you an email?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so last month, we try and have a focus every month because I think that good HR has just been consistent with the focuses. So last month we talked about reward and recognition. And you should have got some resources from us, and Ali has given you a call or tried to give you a call to have a bit of a conversation about it. Look, I do think that reward and recognition is a bit of a black science. How to do it, how much money, what's going to work for the business. There's so many factors.
And what's going to work for the employee.
And what's going to work for the employee, exactly. Like, some people love public recognition. Some people, actually, there was I was dealing with last week an employee who put in a complaint because she was embarrassed by the gushy email that the manager sent her about it and felt it was really, like, she didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
The manager's like, oh, just thought I was doing something nice. And she was like, that just felt like I felt cringe when I got that. So yeah, look, it is tricky. I do think that I have a real problem when you have an employee of the month and it's just every single month and it's just basically pass the hat around as to, who's the next person going to be.
Yeah.
And I also have an issue when it's like, oh, well, we get, every Christmas we get $500. It actually then becomes an entitlement. And if you don't give it to them, expectation, yeah. And then people expect
So we're not getting
it.
$5 this year?
They're getting thousands.
Oh yes.
So whatever, I feel that the best, if you're going to give them a Christmas bonus, that's fine, but it will become an expectation. So if you don't, or you start to decrease the amount, that will have a very negative effect. And so things that are ad hoc, I highly recommend. And it doesn't always have to be big things. It can be a handwritten card that you're sending to a couple of staff. It can be taking staff members to lunch. It can be giving people an early mark and saying, you know what, go home at 3 o'clock and we'll pay you through till 5 o'clock. Or come in late tomorrow, we recognise all the hard work that you've done. It can be 2 movie tickets or tickets to a Taipans game or a sporting event.
Yeah.
So think laterally, think about what your team would like. Think about group things as well. It can be, some businesses I know do, lunch and learns, and they get people bring in dishes, and the employer might, put something on as well. But again, it's just trying to build up that teamwork.
Yeah, I think the crux of it is really understanding what motivates your team.
And having a plan in place so that you know what you're doing over the course of the year and a budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when one size fits all can be hard. It's easy, but it can be difficult because if you don't have that understanding of what motivates your team, like you could give some person a particular gift that another person is really not going to like. So having variety, understanding your team, and having genuine commitment as to what the reward is for, rather than just token.
I think so. So there were some great ideas that Ali put together that she sent out. If you haven't received that or you want to go through them and go, oh, yeah, I got it, but it's on the back burner. I need to look at it. Maybe schedules, if you've got some quiet time over Christmas or some other time, pick it up, maybe give us a call and let us help you put a bit of a plan in place so that then it won't just be one of those gotta do.
Yeah.
It'll be something that you do. So this month, what we are talking about is heat stress, Christmas parties and public holiday rostering. So the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yes.
What should we start with first?
I don't know. You got heat stress.
Heat stress. Yeah, heat stress is. So someone was actually, is it in the awards or is it only in EBAs that there's tools down if it reaches a certain
more common EBAs, particularly unionised EBAs. There could potentially be something in the building construction award which may refer to as probably more so an allowance or something
For heat stress,
for heat stress. I'd have to go and have a check, but that's probably the most prevalent award.
And look, it's hard up here if you're working outside, even if you're working inside.
But you know, when we talk about reward and recognition, you know, sometimes when you are working with people that are outside in the heat, it's being able to have, you know, that access to those little luxuries that, you know, they because it's
Give me them ice creams.
Ice cream, ice blocks, the squencher stuff, you know, even, you know, really good quality vessels to be able to keep liquid cold. You know,
Even just checking in on them and saying maybe you're okay, bringing out some ice, you know,
Yeah.
goes a long way. It shows that you care. I think from a workplace health and safety, you do have to have some awareness that if you've got people that are working for a long period of time outside in the heat, particularly if they're vulnerable people, always think of your vulnerable people. So this could be if they're, you know, quite young, or they're apprentice or school-based trainees, if they're someone who is pregnant, if they're someone who is older and that's not over the age of 50, like someone said to me.
if somebody's recently had a period of sick leave.
Yeah, something like that. You might just want to check in how you're going, you know, have you had a break, you know.
Quite common though for organisations, particularly in blue collar, where they're working out in the field, to adjust their working days over particularly December, January.
Yeah.
So ordinarily they might start at 7. They might have then you know, everybody in favour say, oh, I will start at 6, still within the scope of the award, and they do like a whole workforce moving of days. That's not uncommon.
But do make sure that you have that documented down, that they agree, and if have a look and see whether or not early penalties are going to be applicable. If there is agreement and they voted in, you may be able to get a variation with the working hours depending upon the award. But we have had a client who they did put the hours earlier, so it's cooler in the day, and then they suddenly found out that they had early penalties to pay, and it sort of hadn't been organised from the start, so it was a bit tricky to get on the front foot.
Concept was good.
Concept was good, right reason, but yeah, it did end up unexpectedly costing them, so something to have a look at. Yeah, so have a think about that heat stress and what you're putting in place. Just think, if something happened, someone fell down, had heat stroke, ambulance is called, workplace health and safety are coming out, and they're wanting to know what we've got in place with around our heat management. Can I confidently say that we provide water, we've got breaks, we check in on people, you know, what have you got in place?
And your PPE also extends to sun exposure. So hats, sunscreen.
Yeah, you should be paying for sunscreen. Yeah.
Yep, having it, you know, like the seal little aluminium cradles on the trucks with the little bottles in. And this is, I remember being in working in local government, and the age-old debate of long pants, long shirts. The employees hated them because it's so hot, but then you're trying to navigate it now. Yeah, but I think fabric and
has got
breathability and lightweight fabrics has got a lot better to what it was.
Next one that we want to talk about, let's talk about something fun. Christmas parties.
Yes.
Christmas.
I love a good Christmas party. 2 weeks, ours is in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yes. So
my games arrived in the mail.
So a couple of things with Christmas parties. Remember, it is a work event. So people are covered by work karma for it. So you have to think about what you're doing to ensure that they get there safely and get home safely, and responsible service of alcohol. So if you're going to a public place, you know, obviously you do have, you know, it's going across the bar, that's good. But if you're serving drinks at home, spiking punches, oops, then just be aware as to making sure that there is someone who is responsible that's just keeping an eye on things, and making sure people get home safely from a transport perspective.
Make sure you have a start and finish time.
Start and finish time, that's really big. Yeah, don't leave it open.
No.
And transport for people, providing food, I think it's important as well, not just doing the drinks. So we always get a few cases coming out of staff parties.
It's almost like
Christmas smile, but they kind of can be quite funny.
It's almost like Christmas bingo every year. We go, okay, you know, which was the best horse story of the year from the results of the Christmas
split.
Very loose.
Yeah. That might be the manager telling the staff some things they maybe shouldn't, or vice versa. A few wandering hands, a few
punches thrown,
a bit of sexy stuff happening that may be unwanted in the workplace. So actually, I on a serious note, I've had a sexual assault that has occurred after a Christmas party.
You?
A client that I was working with, yeah, not me. I was sexually assaulted, not exposing that to the group. No, it was, and what was really hard was that the guy had no memory the next day. He's just like,
remember this?
yeah, he was just like, I know, I was really, really drunk and I had no memory, and it was terrible for her. It was terrible for him. It was terrible for the workplace culture. It was just a hideous situation. So try and avoid those. This is parties are not the place to do that. Another good thing to do is to limit the number of drinks if you're going out. So you might give them 3 drinks or 4 drinks or whatever it's going to be. That would be my recommendation. I think that's about it with Christmas parties.
Yeah, you know, I know that you one year wanted to do like a SAS adventure Christmas party with all those sorts of things. Just again, be mindful of any of those activities. They're covered by work cover. So or could expose people if they were, you know, challenged to be able to do that kind of work. They may feel, you know, vulnerable or compromised. I also quite liked it, just having a Christmas party as just a whole workshop where we do some brainstorming and planning for the year. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, nobody liked that idea.
No, nobody likes that.
Still think it should go on for next year.
Yeah, no, you do that in January.
Walk out feeling really good about ourselves.
You walk out feeling really good about yourself.
Okay, next one, public holiday rostering. Dee and I had a very complicated conversation earlier because we had different meanings for RDOs as to what it means. So I'm pleased we've clarified that before.
Did we?
Well, we clarified the fact that we both have different meanings of RDOs. So it is the world has been kind to us this year. All the public holidays are falling on weekdays. So it is from the 6 p.m. on the 24th.
Christmas Eve.
Can I just put my hand up to say that? I didn't know that.
2019 is when it came in. So for the last 6 years.
Is this vague? Oh, yeah, maybe.
I actually thought New Year's Eve was the same, but it's not.
Right.
So it's just from 6 o'clock on the 24th. And that is purely, I remember the debate that went around Parliament in making the amendment to the Holidays Act to gazette this as a public holiday. It was like, you know, the lead up to Christmas and the people that have to work are missing out on all those things. But I don't disagree with it at all. I obviously recognise that it's an additional cost.
5 to 6 you can leave.
5 to 6 you can leave, absolutely. But from 6 o'clock Christmas Eve right through to midnight on Boxing Day. So you've got Wednesday evening, Thursday, Friday. Then your gazetted public holidays, which is good because Saturday and Sunday this year are not gazetted public holidays because the days of significance don't fall on the weekend, which means you don't have any additional public holidays on the weekend. So just your normal Saturday rates, your normal Sunday rates.
Yeah. So what Dee is referring to in next year will be shitty for those businesses that do the 7 days.
Year after will be worse.
Yeah, and the year after, because you'll actually have the year after you'll have the 25th being Saturday, the 26th being Sunday, public holidays, and then they'll also make the 27th and the 28th the public holidays. So if you're a 7-day-a-week business, you'll have 4 public holidays that will have to be paid, which is just really hard. If you're a Monday to Friday business, you wouldn't have to pay because Saturday, Sunday they don't get anyway. So full-timers, and this is where we came into the tricky RDO, because I'm like, what if your RDO, you're full-time, but your RDO falls on the Thursday, Friday, or your day off, your normal Saturday, Sunday for normal people, but instead of Saturday, Sunday, you have Thursday, Friday.
So Thursday and Friday becomes your non-working day.
Non-working days, yes. That was the term we settled on.
That's the term, because RDO is accrued time that you are taking.
When you do those 8-hour days,
So if you're non-working day, if you never work on a Thursday or Friday this year, being they're the days that the holidays fall on, unless you work in an award that is specifically got an additional provision, like the hospitality or the restaurant award, you won't receive any additional remuneration for those days. We apply the principle of what would the employee have worked had the day not been a public holiday? All right, so the employee should suffer no deduction in pay because of the day being a public holiday. So whatever they would have got paid had they been at work on the Thursday and the Friday is what should be paid.
Yeah, but check your award because some awards specifically say if the public holiday falls on your
Non-working day.
non-working day, you're entitled to have another day.
Yeah, the hospitality and the restaurant award, they're the
Definitely.
two that come to mind. straight
But there's
off the top
others
of my
as
head.
well.
Yeah, I imagine that there would be, which means that those, if you have a
Sheds sure to.
I don't know if it does actually, but anyway, there's a debate we can have later
Yeah.
on. So if I'm working in hospitality, never work on a Thursday or Friday. All right. So my working week is Saturday to Wednesday. And I'm full time. I actually get an additional day for Thursday and Friday, even though I never work them.
Yeah.
Yay.
The other thing just to check is if you have people on salary, some wards are really specific as to whether or not you can buy out the salary to cover public holidays, and some they say a salary staff will still receive a day in lieu for working the public holidays.
So it's just an opportunity to also refresh, any employers on a salary or a loaded rate. If you've got X number of public holidays included in your loaded rate for the year, check to see if they've actually gone over that.
Yeah.
So that you're still within your parameters of your salary and your loaded rate.
It is a good time to check your public holiday clause of your award. And we just can't send something out blankly because it is really dependent upon the award and upon the contract and what the salary terms are. But if you've got any questions, concerns, just want to double check it, call Ali because she will be able to help you navigate that.
And let's not forget Thursday the 1st.
Thursday the 1st. Oh yes,
Yeah,
Thursday
that's
the
the
1st,
other
public, and that is New Year's Day.
Yes. 2026. Who would have thought we'd make it this far?
So it used to be a thing that if you called in sick on a public holiday, you didn't get paid because you didn't get paid for sick leave or personal leave because you needed to be ready and willing to work. But I think it's gone by the wayside, isn't it?
Yeah, like public holidays, leave is exclusive of public holidays. So if I woke up on Christmas Day and I was sick, I'm not calling you. Like, I'm not going into work anyway. I'm going to get paid for that day. I'm not calling you.
But I think that, no, so how did it work? I think if I was rostered to work a public holiday and I called in sick, I didn't get paid the public holiday, I got paid sick leave instead. Or no, I think it went by the wayside. It was an old thing. It may have been an
If you called in
interpretation.
sick the day before a public holiday or the day after and didn't get paid for
You
the
had
public
medical.
holiday, that's not
That doesn't
not a
happen
thing.
anymore.
But you can ask if people are calling in sick in and around those public holidays and you have reasonable suspicion, you can ask for reasonable evidence.
The other thing just to have a think about for those businesses that shut down, you should have already advised your staff if you're shutting down.
And I didn't know this. Yeah, I again have to check your award to make sure that you can shut down. Plumbers award doesn't let you.
Really?
No, there is no provision for an annual shutdown.
Right.
No
Okay.
Christmas in the plumbers award.
Right,
You
that's
know
good.
that.
We need a plumber. We've got them over the Christmas break.
Absolutely.
So what if I guess if they all agree to, they can.
Yeah, look, I mean, my favorite analogy in HR in general is it's driving 80 in a 60 zone.
Yeah.
It's all well and good unless there's a copper on the side of the road or someone chooses to challenge it. So if you've got your whole workforce going, thank God we get to close down for Christmas and New Year, and everybody's agreed to it and it's really a customer practice, the chances of you being found to be in breach of your award, very, very low. So you may be willing to take that risk.
Be that one old mate that will put a
But
complaint
it's when you start to force people, particularly new employees, and I find the biggest question that we get is people have a shutdown. Yes, their award allows it, etc., but they've got one employee who's only been there for 6 months and doesn't have the leave to cover the period or whatever else. You really do need to be planning on how you're going to assist those employees because you can't force them to take leave without pay. So you've got to have your arrangements in place so that the employee doesn't suffer any financial hardship because of an imposed shutdown. So what are you going to do? Are you going to allow them to accrue some time beforehand to take over that Christmas break? Are you going to allow them to go into negative? Are you going to advance them some leave? Those sorts of things. So
it's a conversation.
Need to be mindful of that, particularly with new employees starting.
Yeah. What if you had a new employee starting and you told them right from the start that they're going to have this period of time of,
well,
like the business is shut down, we're letting you know there will be no work for this period, and that is advised to them when they start?
Then I think it's a conversation that should happen when that employee applies for leave throughout the year.
No, but if they've just started like 2 months before Christmas
Yeah.
Just start 2 months before Christmas, and in the interview, so I'm going to give you the job, but you need to know that there's not going to be any work over this 2-week period. Can you do that?
80 to 60 zone.
Yeah. Technically, they could challenge it to say I'm full-time, you have to pay me.
Yeah.
So,
Because you can't force an employee to, a full-time employee particularly, or a part-time employee with their guaranteed hours to be without work.
tricky conversation.
Yes. The other, in reverse, if you've got an employee who you tell them and they've been with you for 5 years and they know that you have 2 weeks off or a month off, whatever it is at Christmas, New Year, and they want to take a big chunk of leave in the middle of the year, I would be having a conversation with them to say, look, you know, if you take this leave now, you're not going to have sufficient leave to cover
Over
your
that time.
period. And I'd have sort of like an email exchange or some form.
Yeah, so they know that they're going to be unpaid leave.
Yeah, because they've
Or
voluntarily made that
they could
choice.
fall over and go on week cover and get paid.
No, nobody's falling over.
I'm really sick.
That's
I
not
have
work
to
cover.
Oh, what about? I'm just really sick. I get this still leave over that time.
Yeah, you can. That's right. If an employee's taken annual leave and they do fall ill with medical evidence, they can apply to have their annual leave recredited and the time deducted from their personal leave.
No, we don't advertise that one, do we? But
No,
it actually is
but it's
something they're entitled to.
it is a known fact.
Yeah. A little non-fact.
Little.
So the other thing you had an interesting one about casual school. You're excited by this one.
I wasn't excited. I actually felt a little stupid, to be honest.
I don't think you're stupid, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We did an unfair dismissal claim, and I think what struck me is your reaction when I said we had a casual employee apply for unfair dismissal, and you said, well, they can't apply for an unfair dismissal. And I'm like, well, yes, they can. Like once they're outside of that qualifying period,
Which casuals don't have.
that's a probation period. We try to
have
link them,
probation,
then we
but they can't.
separate them because the purpose of the qualifying period under the Act is an exemption from unfair dismissal.
Right.
So casuals can still apply for an unfair dismissal. And this client had a casual employee who applied for an unfair dismissal. And when we did the employer response to it, we were like, okay, 6 calendar months, the employee's outside of the qualifying period, therefore we can't lodge a jurisdictional objection to oppose that the employee is not.
We lodged an objection to it, but it just
was multiple objections, but it's not a jurisdictional objection. Ordinarily, like if an employee had been there 5 months, we'd lodge a jurisdictional objection saying they're not eligible to lodge the claim, and more often than not, the claims will be dismissed. Right? We didn't do that because calendar months.
They had
been there. About 7, 8. Maybe even a bit longer. So we did not lodge a jurisdictional objection. We fronted up and we had the commission hearing with Commissioner Hunt. And she gave a decision, and this is why I can talk about it because it's actually a decision to dismiss the claim because the employee, the casual employee, had not completed 6 physical months. So what she'd asked us to do is calculate the weeks that the employee had worked and the weeks that they didn't work.
Weeks or days? Days.
Like the weeks. Because you can engage an employee, a casual employee, that week counts.
So that week counts if they did it, yeah.
Yes. So the employee had worked 22 weeks, hadn't worked 26. She dismissed the case.
And we liked Commissioner Hunt, and we don't always like Commissioner Hunt.
Like, no, she's fine. She's good, very good. But it was interesting that they applied that principle. That hadn't even crossed our thought processes. So it's something that we'll obviously be much more aware of going forward if we have casual employees lodging unfair dismissal claims. It doesn't apply in general protections, just unfair dismissal.
Yeah, and I still would say that it is not impossible, but it is more challenging for a casual to lodge an unfair.
Yes, it is more challenging.
Yeah, and we do harp on it. Just treat anyone who's been there, whether they're full-time, part-time, casual, salary, whatever, you use the same principles of going through good process. If you're terminating anyone's contract, lower your risk right from the get-go. Excellent. So the final bit just to finish up on is that I wanted to touch on was, look, this is a fabulous time of year. There's lots of eating, lots of drinking, Lots of getting
One
together.
of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's also can be quite a challenging, stressful time of year as well. It's getting hot. People are tired.
Exhausted.
Family. Exhausted. Exhausted. Let's get another coffee.
This one.
It's
Christmas is not magical for everybody.
no, family dynamics, financial pressures. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening for a lot of people. A lot of stuff in the past will come up. So we're not always at our best. And sometimes everything might be fine at work, but there's stuff happening at home which you as an employer or a manager don't even know about, that the staff might be a bit out of sorts or a bit snappy or a bit cranky and I think it's important to just go gently. I'm not saying allow poor behaviour.
Place of curiosity.
Oh yes, I like that. Come from a place of curiosity. Also for yourself as well.
Yes.
Like as a business owner, I never get tired and snappy and cranky. I do. So, but when you're coming in, and I've got kids coming home, and all sorts of stuff happening.
Holidays.
Yeah.
And who's looking after the kids and who's cooking the ham and the cost.
And the tolerance when
Yeah.
a staff member might ask me a question, I'm like, potentially could be quite snappy, which is not going to have the best result on them. So I have to have awareness, as we all have to have awareness in these situations. So just have a think about that and look after yourself and look after your staff and check in with your staff. And not all businesses, I get that, have the luxury of having a break over this time. But if you do, make sure people get it and enjoy it, and don't sort of dump them with a whole, and when you come back, we'll have to deal with this. Like,
are you giving yourself a bit of a pep talk there, baby?
Really, Dee? Seriously. It's all right, I've got my list. I'll talk about it in January.
We are blessed to have Phoebe here. Blessed.
Yeah. So
I have to
just
say that it's being recorded.
Yeah. So that would be my final wisdom, coming
Yeah.
into this period with it.
Yeah, it's all tinsel and glitter on the
Yeah.
outside, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's all tinsel and glitter on the inside.
And if you're feeling really frustrated or irritated, maybe take a deep breath and call Ali, have a rant to her.
I feel like poor Ellie's getting a lot of calls.
I know,
She
she's
can
on
call
mute,
me.
it's great, indeed,
Call
yeah.
any member of the team.
Yeah.
Call Phoebe. I'll give you her number.
Dad, trust me, I get a lot of calls.
The phone never stops.
We'll definitely, hopefully lower some of the tension.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to have a bit of a vent. I get that.
Yeah. And we also need to recognise the fact that there are people in our workplaces and teams that do not celebrate Christmas. And it's inclusivity and diversity is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So it's just navigation, curiosity, navigation, and you should be good.
Excellent.
Is this our last webinar before the end of the year? Are you doing the Christmas one with
do
the
a bit of
Christmas
a
hat?
yeah, we might bring out best Christmas tinsel and do a bit of a hurrah just before.
Yep.
And send it out. We might do silly stuff. We might do something. We might do a quiz or something fun.
Something fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ali, you got that?
Fun. Yes.
Something fun.
I think we could get Beck in. Beck will sing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Natalie. Lovely to have you here.
Thanks, Natalie.
So
now. I'm not singing.
Yes, Beck can sing.
Just making sure I'm still here. I can hear you, Keeping an eye on you two because someone needs to.
Beck will find something fun for us to do.
Yes, because I'm the fun one, remember?
Yeah, Beck's a fun one. I'm not.
It's true. It's true.
You like the meat and the sandwich now.
You know not to lie, Deanne.
Beck's the fun one. And then go, Beck, you are the fun one. This way. I gotta play both sides of the fence. I'm feeling conflicted.
On that note, we'll say goodbye to everybody.
All right. See you
Bye.
guys. Bye.